C-A.
Ocala.
All right, I've been looking forward to this segment all morning. Actually, more than just this morning. Jessica McCune is in the studio. Jessica has been with us before, but my gosh, I bet you a whole decade has passed since she was here last, and she is in the studio. We did see her, but we didn't say anything to her. We were at this campfire over at Fort King, which was so awesome. I loved it. We didn't have any stories to tell. I was hoping that Jessica and her husband would get up and tell a story or two.
They didn't need us that night. There were plenty of storytellers there. It was wonderful.
There were. But you've got some. You've got one. And you're doing a book sign. Let me back up here. Jessica is in the studio. You've done so much for our community for so long, with the hospitals, with hospice. Let me just read what Robin prepared for me. You're the outreach and support liaison for hospice of Marion County. You are a nurse, mental health counselor, a volunteer with activities from storytelling to public art projects. This sounds like almost like the Student Media Festival introduction, doesn't it? The book that you have written is called The Patron, the Docent-and the Webelo. It is just a magical book. It's subtitled A Magical Morning at the Museum, and it's illustrated by Ivy.
Lila Ivy.
Yes,
our very
thank you.
own Lila Ivy.
Another sweet, beautiful lady in our community. So the two of you came together and put together this wonderful book. Wait, where's your picture? There, now I got you on the screen. Good morning, officially, formally.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
This story tells me that you have always been in love with museums, art museums.
Pretty much. When you go to nursing school, there's not time for Music 101 or art appreciation. So one of the first things I did when I graduated from nursing school was join the museum. And I thought I'd kind of get the hang of it. And
Which museum?
Well, the Dallas Museum of Art. I was in Dallas.
Okay.
I went to their Baylor's nursing school in Dallas. So I joined the museum and would go to gallery openings and lectures when they had them. And it was a whole world that you never ever get caught up on. And then they finally opened up a docent program for people that worked outside the home during the day. So all of the professionals that couldn't go to meetings during the day could come, and we would be trained by PhDs in art history. And then we would lead tours in the evenings and on Saturdays. And it was called the PM League because we were a volunteer league at night. And and that's how I met the Webelos.
And I didn't even know what a Webelo was.
I didn't either.
The book taught me what a Webelo was.
Exactly. The outreach department at the museum also did not know what Webelos were. They were giggling and laughing on my answering machine. This was the 90s. And I'd come in from a long day of work, and I heard all these people laughing. It was not an invitation to a party or to dinner. And they said, we promised to tell you what a Webelo is, but we need you on Saturday morning. And I didn't want to get up on Saturday morning. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So I had very low expectations, but these young men understood art. And that's what always draws me back to art. It makes a difference in everyday living, and it teaches us what we need to know about life.
Always?
I think so.
And Webelo is a Boy Scout?
It's in between a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout, 4th grade, about 8 years old. And these guys were rock stars and from the suburbs. I was kind of a
And
city...
they knew your subject. They were so smart. I'm just telling you because I read the book here.
Well, that's why it was a magical morning at the museum, because, yes, they knew the subject because they had scout moms that had asked the museum outreach department to provide a packet for them to teach the Webelos. And the museum had an outreach department, a department that took calls, mailed the packet, logged the packet back in, and then called volunteer docents. It's a very elaborate process. And on that morning, it all worked beautifully, and it was so exciting.
The story traces a few different art pieces in the museum, but the one it focuses on is the painting called El Hombre.
El Hombre, by Rufino Tamayo from Oaxaca, Mexico.
Oh, I'm glad you pronounced it, because I was in my mind. You know, when you read stuff and you don't know how to pronounce it, you just give it your own pronunciation. Well, that didn't sound like anything I had in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about the painting and why that was the focal point of the book.
Well, the painting was commissioned by the Dallas Museum of Art, and It hangs in the grand atrium as people come into the museum. It was a ceremonial piece, a giant piece to inspire people as they walked
How
into
giant?
the museum.
How big?
18 feet by 11 feet. It's in 3 panels.
gosh.
Wow.
Online, there's a video when they had to move it from a different part of the museum,
Wh-
and they sped it up real fast, and you can see them disassemble it, and then the scaffolding and the beep, beep, beep.
Is it canvas or wood?
Canvas,
It's painted on
canvas,
canvas, so it could have been ripped.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So the art museum in the 50s commissioned this giant painting to inspire people. And on that morning, and it's semi-abstract. I mean, it is not realistic. And on that morning, the first thing I showed the Webelos with my low expectations, I just said, look at this and tell me what you see. And I thought I would count to 10 and tell them all that I had been taught about this painting. And that's when this young man looked at me in 1.5 Mississippis, waist level, eyelashes brushing the back of his glasses, and said, it looks like he's trying to reach for something he knows he's never going to get, but he still wants to try anyway.
That's so profound.
Oh, I was stunned. Just stunned.
How old is the Webelo? About 8, 9?
I think they're 8 in the 4th grade, in between
wow.
a Cub Scout and a
Wow.
Boy Scout. And he was with all of his friends, and his hair was going everywhere. He had freckles and glasses. But my mind kicked in and just said, okay, Jessica, get on board. You know, these guys.
Okay, now help me understand this. Did he really, in his gut, figure it out, or did he learn it from his mom?
I think he figured it out.
He figured it out. There's something about the art reached him.
I believe that. I've seen where, you know, a lot of the Peruvian art on molas or Central American art will have anthropomorphical figures, which are part human, part animal, and there'll be, you know, a human head with wings. And I've seen docents ask the children, you know, what do you think it is? And I'll hear in an instant, it's a Birdman. You know, I mean, they see it and they get it. And
Oh my gosh.
And we think, well, you know, what is it? It's you know.
And you put more
Very
meaning
analytical.
to it.
I guess our minds get so cluttered with a lot of the responsibilities in life that we lose that innate ability to look and understand.
You know, we were at the Dolly Museum one time,
Yes.
and we were not part of a touring group, but we were in earshot of the docent.
Right.
And the docent pointed out a fish in the Dolly Museum, and she said that the fish means he didn't like women. Meanwhile, if you read his story, he loved women. So I said to Robin, maybe he just told them that, and they believed him. Maybe he was being like, you know, just being off maybe because he was kind of a...
Well, I'm not a docent at the Dolly Museum, and I really haven't studied him much, but he was definitely very, very modern. So that's why this was a semi-abstract before, you know, in the 50s, before abstract and surrealism and all the different
Oh, wow.
isms took off. So there's still a little bit of reality in here. And what the Webelo probably did not understand, and I only know from studying it that, and we didn't, there's a lot to this story that is not in the book. In the foreground of the painting is a dog groveling for a bone. And
Oh.
it's all earth reddish tones. It's very hard to see. You have to look for it. But Rufino Tamayo was painting the contrast between this figure reaching for the stars and this beautiful lapis blue sky with the stars shining through, and then contrasting that with a dog groveling for a bone. You know, we have to find food every single day. So real complex
yeah,
images. Now, the Webelo didn't get that, but he did get reaching for the stars. So he saw it.
And you have different characters in there too. You've got a family. You've got, you know, they've had their own trials and tribulations.
Well, that's the artist. That's Rufino
yeah.
Tamayo. When
Oh, yeah, that part of the book, yeah.
when the painting was commissioned, well, before it was commissioned, Mr. Marcus, Stanley Marcus, wanted to find a ceremonial piece of artwork for $1,500, which in the 50s was not a lot of money for a ceremonial giant piece of art. He knew the Tamayo family. He knew they were vacationing. See the USA in your Chevrolet. And and we know from geography, if you are traveling around the country and live in Mexico, you are going to drive through Texas to get home.
Yeah.
And you go through Dallas, and the Marcus family invited them to spend the night, and Mr. Marcus wanted to make a deal. But they were treated with cruelty in a fender bender. They were hit, and they sounded different and talked different, and a small West Texas town hauled the whole family, kids, to the police station and detained them. So when they arrived, what was supposed to be a fun fajita dinner with tequila to make a deal, the family was quite shaken up. But out of the conversations through the night and the next morning, Mr. Marcus still offered the idea for him to paint a painting, and Rufino Tamayo said yes and made the painting.
How long did it take to do this painting?
I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to do some more research, but I'm sure it took several weeks. And he called very excited, and you build a plywood crate around the 3 canvases stacked, and they were shipped. And the rest of this story is not in the book. There really wasn't room for it, but it was shipped to the wrong place. So Mr. Marcus mailed the check. Rufino calls and says, "I have your painting, fabulous, wonderful, I'll mail the check." And no painting, 1 week, 2 weeks. And Mr. Marcus called and said, "Rufino, did you ship the painting?" "Yes, I did." "Did you get the check?" "Yes, I did." It was cashed, and so a very embarrassed Mr. Marcus had spent money but had no painting. And it was 18 months before a freight yard manager in El Paso, a freight yard train manager, called Mr. Marcus demanding money. "You owe me money." And Mr. Marcus says, "I haven't ordered anything from you." He ordered things from all over the world. "I certainly have not ordered anything from El Paso." And this man just kept saying, "You owe me money." And it's been a year and a half. It's been 18 months. And Mr. Marcus finally said, "Where is it from?" Or "Who is it from?" And the freight yard manager said, "Tommy." He goes, "I don't know a Tommy." But he was thinking,
Right.
and he said, "Could it be Tamayo?" And there was a long
Wow.
pause, and the freight yard train manager said, "Might be." And then Mr. Marcus said, "Where is it from?" And he goes, "It's from Mexico." And he said, "Send it, I'll pay whatever the cost."
Wow.
And then he said, "Where has it been? Where has the crate been?"
Yeah, where has it been? Where was it?
In the open freight yard for 18 months.
Just what? Got taken off the train and just ignored?
Lost.
Oh, gee.
So he was devastated. I mean, mountain, arid Texas sun.
Yeah.
The shipment came into the loading docks. The staff was there. The museum director was there. The board of directors was there. Mr. Marcus was there. And the crowbars, pried open the crate, and there was that blue sky with those stars. And so it worked. It just was a long waiting game.
And he remembered the conversation he had with the artist, specifically wanting a piece that spoke to something that was hopeful or optimistic.
They talked together, and they both thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if there could be a painting about how to live together, about how to live side by side.
Ironic, considering the trouble they went through with that fender bender. Wow.
Very poignant and very dear, and a very needed message today as well.
That was.
I know. Isn't it amazing how you think we are progressing, and you think the world is no longer going to be primitive? And I'm not talking about iPads and things like that. I'm just talking about how I treat you and how we treat those people outside the window.
And countries keeping their word and leaders working together.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, but yeah, that's it. Now, see, the painting, your book gives the painting more meaning for somebody like me, who may not have been as smart as the Webelo.
Like I said, I learned about it from a PhD in art history. So, I sat in a lovely auditorium with slides and had a teacher, an educator, teach me about it. But the Webelos just looked at it and got it.
You have a book signing today. You will be there at what time?
It's 5 to 6:30. Marian Cultural Alliance has been very generous, offered to have this book signing for me. I'm so grateful. The Star Banner's been amazing to support storytelling and this book. Thank you so much. It's 5 to 6:30. I forgot that it was Maundy Thursday, one of my favorite services of the whole year. We'll be through early, I promise. Yeah. And I'm going to tell the story at 5:30, and Lila's going to be there. And of course, me having an idea to take this true story and put it on paper is very, very different than the story making sense as you turn pages with illustrations and pictures. So I have to bow down to Lila Ivy, and she didn't just illustrate the book. She really showed me how to do it, and she's written several books on her own. And I'd like to say I knew that and figured it out and asked her to help me, but I just stumbled into all of it, which I am so totally grateful for.
I thought it was a children's book. It's not. Not necessarily. I mean, it can be.
It's for everyone.
Yeah, I think you've done something pretty amazing, whereas an adult will look at this book and get something out of it that is not normally the things we as adults get out of children's books. So it's not really a children's book, but it is.
It's a true story. It's a true story, and I wrote it in a children's book format because really for an adult reading, it would be a column in a newspaper or something. I mean, it wouldn't be a book necessarily. But you're right, every painting has a story behind it. Every artist is carrying stories inside of them. Every composer, every author, every dancer, every symphony director, we all have stories, and it's art, and storytelling is the seed art, the very first art. And it caught me many years ago, and I've told this story orally in the oral tradition for many years, but I did want to put it in paper as well. And it's different because the whole story isn't in these 32 pages, but we did the best we could.
You share a little bit with this on the show right here. So,
And your writing of it, I mean, the balance, the cultural acceptance between the gentleman that commissioned the painting and then the artist that did it, their monetary stature was so totally different, but they were all so friendly to each other. There was no talking down to the artist or anything. They embraced both families embraced each other and coexist together.
It's very, very dear.
you know, and on a different level, the book also does something. It'll enable somebody who maybe hasn't really appreciated an art museum to go, for example, to the Appleton and now look at that work a little differently, just because of how the book has opened our eyes to, maybe the underlying story behind any painting.
And the underlying story behind the artist that painted the painting. The docents have an incredible seat of power to open up that door, crack it open, as you just described, to see a little bit more than what's just in front of us or what we think we're seeing.
I often think, those ink blot tests that psychiatrists do. That's how I look at art. I'll go to the Appleton, and what do you see there? It looks like that guy's hungry. It's just my joke. But anyway, so congratulations on the book, The Patron, The Docent, and The Webelo.
Thank you.
Jessica McCune, we're not done yet. We do have to take a little break, but we'll be right back. And we will, again, mention that you will be at the Brick City Center for the Arts.
23 Southwest Broadway.
Okay, and that'll be from 5 to 6:30, just in time to go to Monday, Thursday services.
Yes.
Are you going to those services?
No,
Tonight?
not today, no.
Okay. All right, we will take a little break. Be right back with Jessica. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. Partly sunny skies on this Thursday. It'll become breezy in the afternoon. High 77 along the coast, 82 inland. And mainly clear Thursday night. Lows in the mid and upper 50s and a few inland spots. About 67 along the coast. For Good Friday, partly sunny, breezy in the afternoon. High 79 on the coast, 84 inland. For Saturday, a breezy day with sun and some clouds. High 80 along the coast, 85 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. So, you used to be wired, now you're just tired. You used to be thin, but now you're the heaviest you've ever been. You don't necessarily always have to take a med if your thyroid is playing dead. If you have a thyroid disorder, an acupuncture visit may be in order. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, @yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
WOCA gets results.
Yeah, I love WOCA because they're fun to listen to. They're Larry and Robin start the day fresh, and they're funny, they're informative. They've also helped us with Therapeutic Riding Association, getting us players for our golf tournament fundraisers, and so they help the kids that are handicapped, make our community a better place to live, and they've been a very good partner for us. Wouldn't want to have it any other way.
WOCA gets results. You're going to love your new windows and the immediate energy savings when you work with Renewal by Andersen. You'll experience legendary quality installation. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for a free in-home consultation with the pros. Right now, save 20% on every window and door, plus 20% off installation. No money down, 0% interest, and 0 payments for 12 months with approved credit. Visit renewalbyandersen.com. Renewalbyandersen.com. Offer ends April 30th. License CGC 1524135. Coming this and every second Friday of the month at 11 a.m. is Trinity Healthcare Medical Center with your host, Dr. David Kuhn. Trinity Healthcare Medical Center is Ocala's only progressive primary care clinic. Be sure to listen in and also check their website at thcmc.com. Then call them with your questions at 512-0000. That's 512-0000. That's every second Friday at 11 a.m. for Trinity Healthcare Medical Center here on The Source WOCA.
All right, 26 minutes after 11 o'clock. See, when you have a good interview, time flies. I don't know what Einstein had to say about this, but time definitely goes at a different speed when you have a great guest. Jessica McCune is our guest, and she is in the studio to promote her book and her book signing. The book signing is this evening at 5 o'clock. It'll go for an hour and a half from 5 to 6:30 at the Brick City Center for the Arts at 23 Southwest Broadway. So go down there, say hi to Jessica, and look at the book. And Lila will be there.
Lila will be there, yes.
My favorite, well, one of my favorite paintings by Lila is this one, where that's you running out of the car.
Yeah.
I love the idea that she did like a bird's eye view and lift so you could see you running in, and there's the Webelos who you don't even know what they are yet, right? This is
Well, I had very low expectations. This was a Saturday morning obligation. I worked full time. I was single. And I didn't have the heart to say no when they asked me to give the tour. I didn't have a conflict. But I actually thought, how bad can 50 minutes be? And I mean, I hate to admit that, but I had very low expectations. So the parking lot was empty Saturday morning, and there was one other car, and it was a suburban from the suburbs, and the Webelos were spilling out. So I actually parked next to them, saw the scout moms, the scout dads, the shorts, the neckerchiefs, the badges. But I just thought, I'm going to meet them soon enough. I hate to admit that. So, but Lila, you're exactly right. I could write down these thoughts, what I thought would fill 32 pages and move the story along, but she was the one that had the ideas, and I mean, she's an illustrator, so and she's an artist, and she's authored several books and award-winning books. She's very, very talented with an entire career in radio, TV, and broadcasting, and we're lucky to have her at hospice. But she really listened to me and saw images and then drew them. So she'll be happy to know that that's your favorite spread.
Two beautiful souls coming together for a wonderful project. If you put your headphones on, you'll be able to hear a caller who's calling you right now.
Okay.
So can you hear me talking?
Yes.
Well, that means you'll hear the listener. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Jessica.
Good morning. I heard your comment about the only way you like the art is you look at the paintings from a chiropractor. Long time ago, when I first got married, we bought a painting of up in North New Jersey, Delaware Water Gap, and the artist told us as we stood there looking at this painting to take our fist, make a fist, and open it up just enough that you see a peephole, and then go over the painting, and it looks just like you're there because it cuts out all the rest of the light. So you can take one of your bad paintings that you see two black spots, and you can look at it, and maybe you'll see something important there, Larry.
I'll try that. All right, thank you.
So try it. You can try it on a wall. Look in the what you call it there. Just do it on one of your paintings, and you can really appreciate the art. So
interesting.
All right.
Thank you. Sounds playful, actually. It sounds like a playful thing.
I think it's a lot like life. Things happen and we look at it, but if we just focus at one part, there's probably a whole lot there that we wouldn't have noticed if we were just looking at everything with a broad viewpoint.
Jessica, we love you. Thank you so much for being a part of our community and for coming in here to talk about the book, and good luck with everything. Don't be a stranger. Don't take another decade.
Well, thank you for your invitation. I love what you do to bring out the best in everybody, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. We will take a little break. Fun with Joe. My gosh, we're at that point already. Fun with Joe in about 10 minutes. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The U.S. military denies allegations an airstrike in Syria targeting ISIS chemical weapons killed hundreds of civilians.
Meanwhile, the AP says